Hey, welcome again to John's Media World Extra. Today we have a lot of thought provoking items to get to. Our first one has to do with oil producers. They're not into drill, baby, drill. What a surprise. Now, there's a byproduct of drilling, and that is natural gas. But they don't want to drill because natural gas is selling at negative prices, below zero. They're paying people to haul it away because there aren't enough pipelines to get rid of it. Now they're building pipelines and refineries in this country, but they won't be online for another 2, 3, 4 years. So we're kind of stuck with what we have. But I want to play for you a little information about the gas, the petroleum, the oil drilling here in this country. We have some of the cleanest oil ever, but we're not refining it. Now, again, they're building refineries, but we're not doing it now, and we're controlled by the world pricing. So let's get to this video. It explains a whole hell of a lot.
Why is America's oil system built around the worst type of oil? And who's even benefiting from this? According to Forbes' 2025 list, 15 people now dominate the billionaire ranks, up from just 6 in 2023. And back when the list started in 1987, there were only 2 people who had over $28 billion adjusted for inflation. Today, that doesn't even crack the top 50. In 2024 alone, billionaire wealth has surged by $2 trillion. We're going into an age of trillionaires. And since the top 1% have taken nearly 40% of all the wealth in the US, the result is leading to rampant inequality. And with rising debt and a coming economic downturn, this could end up being a recipe for chaos.
Now, we've gone up to $39 trillion in debt, just to keep you updated.
And one thing buried underground may be the root of all of this, and that is oil. To put everything into perspective, the US is sitting on an estimated 264 billion barrels of untapped thin oil. There's over 60 billion barrels under Texas alone, which is weird considering the fact that the US has been hit hard by oil and fuel shortages time and time again. It's given OPEC tons of power to exploit the US. And what's more is that this US thin oil is actually better oil overall than most other oil that's being imported. It's cheaper, it's cleaner, it's easier to refine, and it's actually better for the environment. Even with all of this, you would think that just one major shortage or one big scare would be enough to start the process of switching things over, especially when this could end up being more profitable for the US in the long run anyway. This affects every single person living in America, but because it's not being used, it's making everyone poorer in ways that most can't even comprehend. And the truth of this has been covered up for decades. So to understand this full picture, we need to go back to 1973 to see how this is making you poorer and ruining America from the inside out. The Middle East doesn't get used because the US is set up to make use of Saudi oil instead. That imported oil created the petrodollar system and put the entire financial industry in control of the world economy, something which it ran into the ground all to maximize shareholder profit. So while it may have outgrown the actual need for that oil long ago, the US economy and the world economy needs that oil to still maintain the appearance of being useful. When the illusion does finally break, it'll create global chaos. But until that point, we'll just keep burning up more oil.
Now, I have to say, I don't understand why they didn't reinvest the billions and billions of dollars that they're making selling gasoline. I don't know why they haven't built the infrastructure, the refineries, for the kind of oil we produce here in the U.S. I don't get it. I can't explain it. But that's their industry. They just wanted to make profits and not reinvest any of those profits into building in their infrastructure. Now, we have to admit at this point, because, again, as you saw in that story, we're really not responsible for the pricing of gasoline in this country. It's a world market. But I think I could say with confidence that we can blame President Trump for the recent price of gasoline at the pump because of his war in Iran. Now let's go to CNN in a recent poll on this.
Breaking overnight, we did see a huge jump in gas prices, up 9 cents a gallon to $4.39. It's up 33 cents in the past week. There have been big jumps all week long. The political question is, who gets blamed for this? CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten is here this morning. So, simple question, who does get the blame and how does that compare historically to past people getting the blame.
You know, the buck stops at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Donald John Trump, the President of the United States, and to a historic degree, look at this, blame for the increase in gas prices. 77% say Donald Trump. I looked back at every president that I could find on a similar question, which is when the gas prices rise, who gets the blame? Trump gets the blame more than Joe Biden did back in 2022.
That looks like a record, by the way.
More than Barack Obama did in 2012, and more than George W. Bush did back in 2005, 71%. Donald Trump takes the cake. He owns this mess, according to the American people, and it is quite the mess because as gas prices climb ever higher and the increase in the percentage that blame Donald Trump climb ever higher, his approval ratings go down into the basement.
So presidents always get blamed, but he's getting blamed more.
He is getting blamed more to a historic degree.
What about the partisan breakdown here?
Now, this is where it gets really stunning. Okay, you know, we've seen numbers that are this bad for Trump, you know, disapproval rating on gas prices around this area, the percentage blaming him for the increase in gas prices around this area. But when you break it down by party, this is where it gets, oh my. You know, this is a Republican base that has been infatuated with Donald Trump for years. But even here, blame Trump for rising gas prices. 55%, a majority of Republicans blame Donald Trump for gas prices. That is the highest ever blame for gas prices from one's own party. Then you see 82% of independents. That's the highest percentage who blame the President of the United States among independents. Not much of a surprise, 95% of Democrats, but majority. Rarely do you get the trifecta of majority from across the political spectrum agreeing on something, but here we have it. The majority of Republicans, independents, and Democrats all blame Trump for higher gas prices.
And this is the highest ever from inside one's own party?
That is correct. This is the highest ever from inside one's party. When you look at the three other presidents that you have on your screen right here, that 55% that you see here, blaming the president in one's own party, that is the highest ever.
Okay.
There you go. A record. He should be proud. Trump is probably very, very proud of that number. All right. It's a number no one's ever seen before. Oh, boy. All right. Now let's get to a little free beer here in Wisconsin. We love beer here in Wisconsin. I broadcast from Madison, Wisconsin. And there is a brewery, the Minocqua Brewing Company. The owner is offering free beer for an entire day when Trump dies. Now, the right wing is going crazy. They're saying this is a threat to Trump's life, or at least promoting people to act out and commit violence against Trump, or at least take a shot, right? I mean, that's what they're saying. And Newsmax thought it was a good idea to talk to somebody from Wisconsin. And who better than the former governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker? I got to say that these people, they have been going along here since Trump became president without suffering any consequences for their words, for all of the nasty things that they have said. But now they're learning that there are consequences to words, except it's something that doesn't apply to them. Only to the left. Let's listen to Scott Walker.
Beer day, the day the president dies, you know, this seems to go beyond free speech.
No, it totally is.
Church. They're going, yeah, free beer day, the day the president dies, you know, this seems to go beyond free speech.
No, it totally is. We saw Charlie Kirk's assassination. People were celebrating. We saw the rhetoric from Chuck Schumer when he called out people like Justice Kavanaugh. And then, shock of all shocks, someone showed up not long after at his house, outside of his house, with plans to kill him. But,
you know, you can't criticize Republicans or MAGAs, right? Or these things happen.
This rhetoric, it's not saying they're right, they're wrong. When people call you a Nazi, when they say you're Hitler, we know history. We understand the implications that makes. And I saw it when I was governor.
Yes, that's what happens. You know, if you act a certain way, you get called that particular name, fascist or a dictator or Nazi or Hitler. You really have to kind of double check and see what you're doing. Why are people calling you that? Try that sometime. Look within. Okay. All right. Now I want to get to something here from John Fugelsang. I've been saying this for a heck of a long time. I heard him saying on the Stephanie Miller Show this morning, I think that DEI is the most racist policy ever. It is an excuse to do away with everything that has to do with minorities, race, women, everybody, anything they don't like. If it doesn't have something to do with white people, it is DEI. And Fugelsang actually brought this up. Now, they were talking initially about the Voting Rights Act being pummeled to death by the Supreme Court, allowing black districts to be broken up again. See? Now, Florida and Louisiana are going ahead with plans to do just that, break up the black districts. So John Fugelsang had an observation on this, and I thought I'd play it for you. Let's listen. Oh, by the way, this is audio.
No, but this is not redistricting. This is racist Photoshop, okay? This is an Instagram filter for democracy called Whiter. That's the whole thing. Race-conscious college admissions to address all the racism in history, that's illegal. Race-conscious voting maps to remedy the racial vote dilution, that's illegal.
True.
But race-conscious immigration crackdowns, that's fine. Race-conscious policing, that's fine. Race-conscious travel bans if we feel like it. You ever notice these conservatives only think America has to be colorblind only when race is used to help minorities?
Yeah.
Donald Trump's lies about the Haitians eating the pets, his lies about the first black president not being one of us, Pete Hegseth trying to remove Jackie Robinson from the Pentagon website, removing the contributions of natives and women. It's all part of their game. This is the crappiness of white supremacy, white fake Christian supremacy, which can't stop showing how not supreme it is.
I thank John Fugelsang for putting it to words. Thank you. On the Stephanie Miller Show this morning. Now let's get to country music. The Daily Show's Jon Stewart had a few observations about one particular country song that he found interest in. So let's listen to that as well. Magically, just audio here in the program today.
What exactly is so hard about being country nowadays?
I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck, drink my beer.
So far, it sounds relatively easy.
And dumb, too.
Am I missing a heavier lift?
I just want to cut my grass, feed my dogs, wear my boots.
Sir, again, I must insist. All of these seem like achievable goals. I mean, you're wearing boots right now. What exactly is it about being country that is so difficult?
If I tell my own daughter that little boys ain't little girls.
Here we go.
I'll be up the creek in hot water. This can't see your world.
People throw the word hero around.
Yes, they do.
But this is a bold opinion to hold in your genre, sir. Really risking it all going up against country music's trans cartel. By the way, also, if you did get canceled, really more time for the fishing and the mowing and the truck beer drinking, and if I could just remind you, really just the important thing, feeding the dog. Again, I can't stress this enough. In the song, between the beer and the boots and the fishing, really just feed your f***ing dog.
We can agree to that. One of the things about that song, it's pretty silly, isn't it? Now, in the old days, like in the 50s and 60s and 70s, they were a little less obvious about the trucks, the drinking. I don't know, it's just me, but wow, country music ain't so good anymore, is it? All right, now let's get to something I heard today, and I thought, wow, this is really, really disconnected from reality. This is Republican Representative Buddy Carter. He said, remember, President Trump promised he'd make us safer. He's made us safer. Not only that, gas prices are high, but you know what? They're going to come down too. So that makes the it makes the pain go away a little bit. Anyway, let's listen to the comments from this crazy Republican.
First of all, remember, President Trump promised he'd make us safer and more prosperous. He's made us safer. He's making us safer and making the world safer by assuring that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And he's made us more prosperous through the Working Families Tax Cut Act that has put more money in people's pockets. Now, yes, we've seen some gas price fluctuation. Gas prices will go back down. Remember, high gas prices are the work of the Democrats. Remember 2022,
yes.
$5 and $6 a gallon. That was the Democratic leadership that led to those high gas prices. But gas prices are going to come back down. And as we see the economy improve, I'm very confident that in the midterm elections that we're going to come back in the majority, both in the House and in the Senate.
All right. Well, that is Representative Buddy Carter. Wow. He feels safer because now we're in Iran and we're taking it to him. All right. So yesterday I played a cut from CNN. Correspondent over there was telling us what was really going on with the people in Iran, and it's frightening. I don't feel safer.
Martyrdom is a hugely important concept here in the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're currently at an event where hundreds of women hold their babies into the air to show that they're willing to offer their children as martyrs for God and for Imam Hussein. All of that goes back to the legendary Battle of Karbala, where Imam Hussein held his baby into the air, asking the enemy that was besieging Karbala to give the baby water, and instead the enemy killed the baby. Now, there's nothing more glorious here than dying as a martyr. And of course, right now, that concept takes on an even more important meaning as Iran is involved in this massive struggle with Israel and the United States.
We want to show them we are not scared of anything, she says, and will support our state until they are destroyed. And she says they need to know that Imam Hussein is our everything, and we should sacrifice our lives for Imam Hussein.
All right. Does that make you feel safer? I didn't think so. Now let's get to the Senate. The Senate is going over some of the nominees for federal judgeships, and it's not looking good. So let's check out what Senator Chris Coons said to a few of these nominees, trying to get them to at least open up a little bit. His main question was, is Trump eligible for a third term in 2028?
Mr. Mark, is President Trump eligible to run for president again in 2028?
Senator, without considering all the facts and looking at everything, depending on what the situation is, this to me strikes as more of a hypothetical of something that could be.
It's not a hypothetical. Has President Trump been elected president twice?
President Trump has been certified the President of the United States 2 times.
Is he eligible to run for a third term under our Constitution?
I would have to review.
Look at the Constitution.
All I need to tell you is the language of the constitutional amendment that makes it clear that no, he is not eligible to run for a third term. Anybody else brave enough to say that the Constitution of the United States prevents President Trump from seeking a third term?
He's asking the other nominees.
Anybody willing to apply the Constitution by its plain language in the 22nd Amendment?
Crickets.
Nobody. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on.
Yes. Wow. All right. That's Chris Coons' question. Now we have Senator Richard Blumenthal. He has a question for these guys. Let's listen to this.
Who won the 2020 election?
I'd say that President Biden was certified the winner of the 2020 election.
He won the election. Is that your response?
Senator, I think my response is he was certified as the winner by counting the electoral.
So you're unwilling to say he won the election. How about you, Mr. Roberts?
I have the same answer as my colleague, Senator.
Same answer as the previous one?
The previous nominee. The Senate did.
Mr. Coons, how about you?
Thank you, Senator. And I have the same answer as Mr.
Same answer. Unwilling to say that Joe Biden won the election, correct?
As Mr. Hendershot said, it has become a matter of political concern, and Joe Biden.
Well, it's a matter of political concern, but it's also an issue of fact. Is it not?
Joe Biden was, in fact, certified the winner of the 2020 election.
Mr. Mark?
Cute.
Same answer, Senator.
I am amazed
Yes.
And really appalled that nominees for a lifetime appointment to the federal bench are unwilling to respond on an issue of fact. And I'm not going to try to get an answer out of you because clearly you've been rehearsed to provide a stock answer, which I think really reflects not only on your honesty, but really on your fitness to be a federal judge, because you are supposed to be independent and to arrive at the truth based on the evidence before you. And I think it's pretty irrefutable that Joe Biden won the election, but you're unwilling to use that word because you are afraid. You are afraid of what? President Trump? That is exactly what we do not need on the federal bench today. We need jurists who are fearless and strong, not weak and pathetic.
There you go. Wow, laying it on the line. I love that. Those are the Trump nominees for federal judgeships. All right. And it didn't go well for any of them. Now, I have another clip here, and this is a perfect example of why we need universal health care in this country. I've been beating this to death for the last, 10 or 15 years, and I'm really, really sad that the Republicans are winning the messaging on this with their old plans that they present as new plans for reforming health care from the ACA, from Obamacare, to going back to what failed in the past, but presenting it as if it were something new, all right? But we do need universal health care in this country, and it's never been more obvious than the way Republicans are threatening the American public with taking away their health care. They get health care, we pay for their health care, but they are taking our health care away. And they don't want to fund health care either. And this is a perfect example of this. This is Minnesota State Republican Senator Tory Westrom. He says the Hennepin County Medical Center, a publicly funded hospital in Minneapolis, shouldn't get $50 million to counteract the federal cuts that the budget made for them to avoid shutting down.
Senators, we have some tough medicine. Might not taste the best, but it's going to help cure their disease. And the first step is get rid of the bad medicine, this go woke, go broke mentality that they have adopted at Hennepin County Medical Center.
They just need funding.
They're on this bad medicine kick, and they want us to kick in more to support their bad habits. And buy them some more bad medicine? No, I don't think so.
Healthcare.
So members, vote yes. Let's give them tough love.
Wow.
Tough medicine that doesn't taste great, but it's going to help cure their disease and get them on the right path, focused on recovery, becoming healthy, and being able to function as a trauma center.
How do you do that without
critical
money?
Medical needs that we need across the state. But if they don't make this turnaround, and they don't have the common sense to do it,
To make medical
we
cuts.
don't need to invest taxpayer money in them. We need to let them
Shut down.
solve it themselves and solve our problems elsewhere in the state, because this bad medicine is not going to do it.
That's it there, the bad medicine, and that bad medicine is funding this particular medical center so it won't go out of business. And Republicans have been doing this for a heck of a long time. Here in Wisconsin, when Governor Walker was controlling everything, he came out and said that you don't get health care if you're not working. In other words, you have no value to society if you're not working. And And if you're sick or you need some kind of treatment, you're not getting it. That's what they're doing with healthcare. They've weaponized it. So another reason why we should have universal coverage in this country. Just saying. Now let's get to acting AG Todd Blanche. And what he's saying now is that the Southern Poverty Law Center never shared information with the FBI. Now, that can be easily proved by the Southern Poverty Law Center with paperwork and I'm sure receipts and emails and text, whatever they've used. They can certainly show that to the court, and they probably will. But I want to play this for you. This is columnist and Pulitzer Prize winner Kyle Whitmire. He had a comment about this, and I think he put it very succinctly.
Do these guys know what the heck they're doing? Last week, the Justice Department accused the Southern Poverty Law Center of funding hate groups with donors' money. The SPLC says it used that money to pay informants for tips that helped stop crimes. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche said the SPLC did not share that information with federal investigators.
There's no information that we have that suggests that the money that they were paying to these informants and these members of these organizations, they then turned around and shared what they learned with law enforcement.
You heard that, right? And it would be really embarrassing if it turned out the SPLC had shared that information. And they did. On Tuesday, the organization filed a motion in federal court citing examples. The SPLC flagged a Vanguard America guy angling for security clearance at the Philadelphia Navy Yard. The feds indicted him, detained him, and locked him up. They tipped off the FBI about an Atomwaffen member stockpiling thermite to firebomb a Las Vegas synagogue. He got locked up too. And before the Unite the Right rally, the SPLC handed the FBI a 45-page report on what was about to go down in Charlottesville.
There you go.
The lead investigator on the SPLC case is an FBI agent in the Alabama FBI office where the SPLC sent that information. I asked the Justice Department about all this, and here's what they sent back. A grand jury heard only a portion of the evidence against SPLC and chose to indict on 11 counts. These issues will be litigated in court, and the government remains confident in its case. Yeah, that's it. Which brings us back to the question.
Yes, that question. Did the Southern Poverty Law Center share information with the FBI? And they showed the receipts. Now let's get to something a little meatier and a little more controversial, especially now it's getting even more controversial with AI enhancements. But let's get to this. It's how incompetent the Trump administration is taking care of the president, security-wise. It's not working out real well so far, anyway. AG Todd Blanche said the Secret Service did a fine job protecting President Trump, but federal prosecutors said Cole Allen was thwarted only because, and get this, I did not know this, he fell down. And then they piled on him. So they didn't tackle him. They didn't stop him in any way, shape, or form, but as he ran through, he fell and they apprehended him. Okay. Now, worse still, security footage shows a canine flagging Cole Allen as suspicious moments before the alleged attack. In other words, a dog noticed that Cole Allen was suspicious for whatever reason. I don't know, but the dog knew, and the dog handler pulled the dog away and didn't pay any attention to the fact that the dog was saying, hey, this guy's suspicious. So I want to play this video for you. This is an enhanced version of the video. I have questions about enhancing AI enhancement, but let's play this for you. There it is. The dog goes through the double doors, sees the shooter getting ready to come out. The handler doesn't care too much about it. The dog goes back, again warning him. The handler pulls the dog away. They're taking down one of the metal detectors. Here comes the shooter. You're going through the metal detector with a rifle. All right. Very obvious. Everything is clear as a bell. Okay. But I have questions about the clarity of all of that. And I want to show you what that looks like. The original footage is not that clear. All right. And I'm going to get that ready for you here because it really is truly something. And if you have time, go online and check out the quality yourself here. But I'm going to play this for you right now. Here we go. See, that's nothing but snowy images. Yeah, there it is.
Shall I post it as soon as
That is insane. That's insanely fuzzy. But they have managed to make it look like it is high definition 4K on your TV set at home. All right. And I want to play that again for you. Here it is. See? You can read the police signs on their back, the warning symbols on the metal detectors. There it is. Guy's running through with a rifle. Now, a lot of people are thinking that he didn't have the rifle. They think that he had his sleeves rolled up and AI correction made the sleeves longer, or you couldn't see the rifle. I saw the rifle only because his arm positions made it look like he was carrying something. And how do you carry a shotgun? Right? With your arms. So anyway, that is, the controversy continues, but there is more. There is more. One officer fired at least 5 times at Allen, the shooter. That same officer saw Allen fire his shotgun in the direction of the stairs. There was only 1 spent cartridge and 8 unfired cartridges, meaning he only shot once. Nothing about the officer who Blanche said was shot. Nothing about that. And a former FBI deputy chief of operations said the security failure he saw, including its failure to set up a basic barrier to prevent people from sprinting into a secured area, were stunning, especially given the past threats and the fact the nation is at war with Iran, who has cells in this country, and they're probably training in order to attack the administration in some way, shape, or form. So anyway, that is the controversy as we continue to investigate and have these videos released, these AI-enhanced videos, which are really suspicious. When you look at the original hotel footage, it is really snowy, bad quality, and they made it into something that is almost 4K. So it's very strange. All right, I'm going to leave on a happy note. This is the end of InfoWars. Alex Jones is signing off, and I want to play the video of that sign-off for you right now.
And all glory goes to Jesus Christ, our Heavenly Father, that leads guys in righteous. We commit ourselves to God.
He backed you up all the way on this.
And we are committed, and if God stands with us, who can stand against us? And that's how I close out. So I salute you all. What a crew. The hell we've been through has only made us stronger. Let me
No,
ask
it
you,
hasn't.
would you have any other way?
No.
Are you stronger now in this fight?
No. Oh, yeah. No.
I salute this crew and all the viewers and listeners to this fight, and I commit myself to Jesus Christ's hands.
Oh, well, I'm sure that he's backing away from that offer. The Onion has taken control of it, kind of. At the last minute, the Texas Third Court of Appeals late Wednesday approved Alex Jones's appeal, paused the satirical outlet from taking control of InfoWars. Weird. The Onion reached a deal for a takeover last week. Finally, it went quite a long time. Jones lost a lawsuit, and that's why he's getting rid of InfoWars. He lost a lawsuit after he claimed the Sandy Hook shooting that killed 20 children under 10 years old and 6 school staff members was a hoax. Probably one of the cruelest, most inhumane individuals you would ever meet, Alex Jones. The Onion has already sold InfoWars merchandise, spoofing Jones, of course, with T-shirts and tote bags. And again, the info, the 0 or the O in info is actually an onion at this point. So that's good news and kind of sad news that it has to be put off just a little bit, but we'll see. All right, that's it for today's Media World Extra. I'm John Peterson. We'll see you again